Good morning, patrons, supporters, friends, my loves who invest in my stories, who love my stories, whether it's my works on mental health and social issues, or it's my paid content for science or and sci-fi, fantasy, and mystery stories. It's currently what 12:40, almost 1 o'clock in the morning Central Time in the United States, and the reason is because I'm hard at work on improving my productivity. I've downloaded software that will help me be more productive. Um, I'm a fast writer, but I need more tools to help, you know, bring everything here out on the page and grammatically correct. There are writers and there are editors. Some writers are editors and some editors are writers. And then there are some writers that just don't bother to be editors. And I'm one of them. I am a writer that will do my best to be grammatically appropriate and rational within my style. But I will say, I'm not perfect. That's why I have hired a editor for my book. But um, Project Elosa, I have failed to read you all entries. And I think part of that is because it's in the editing phase. I finished the manuscript. Um, but Elosa, as I've explained on my Facebook page, Elosa stars Tigua. Uh, Tigua, his Tigua was born into the military as a child soldier and worked his way up in his young adult age as one of the most prolific commanders in the military. However, duty, and nature, and duty and nature conflict for Tigua in many different ways, and it causes Tigua to go on a very to 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 essentially um, to essentially go against his duty and uh, rediscover themselves and their place in a world that is hostile to them because, frankly, they are known as Tigua is known as the child beast of Matar. Matar being the king, the emperor, of which sent Tigua on all of these very murderous, very bloody campaigns for what, over 10 years. So Tigua has to rediscover themselves and seek internal peace as well as peace within their people while facing a very bloodthirsty and power hungry empire. One of the things I love about Elosa is the Project Elosa. I don't have a title yet for it, so I say Project Elosa. And Elosa will be explained once, closer to when the book is out or prepared and ready to be published. Um, the thing about Project Elosa is that it fuses my love of history and curiosity and to understand historic empires outside of the ones that they tell in American schools. I'm talking about the various African empires, Northern Africa to the Turkish empires in the Middle East, and those throughout the Middle Eastern, the Mediterranean seas, right? Um, History has hundreds and hundreds of very powerful empires that influenced the world. or a significant part of the world, a significant part of the continent of Europe, of Africa, of Russia, of so forth. Um, my story includes that curiosity and that passion for history, but it also includes um, my it includes a lot of spiritual philosophies that kind of born that are come out of my head, but are definitely inspired by various different. Um, I will admit, largely Western African. Well, no, no, Western African. Um, Western African. I'm trying to think of all the characters. There are some old Christians in there. Well, not old Christians. There are some modern Christians in there. Gnostics. So yeah, the various different theologies that I love to study. Um, it's going to be a big question of what is the meaning to all of these faith systems? What is the core to all of them? Which ultimately, if you ask me, is love. It's love. And that is not giving away anything in the story, because there's actually two parts to Project Elosa. I'm actually brainstorming, well, blueprinting the second part to the book. So the book hasn't even been, published yet, but I know it's a two-parter. It's all going to be a two, maybe it only a two-parter, but right now I know there's going to be a second part that I'm already brainstorming. My third project, I'll say that's half project. So my third project is, I have no name. Oh yes, I do have a name for it. Um, right now it's Project Gods Beyond Heaven, and I will give you a little thing. So I love this. It was something that came. I don't know where it came from out of my head. Do do do. I'm trying to find. So, if you've read my story, I largely focus on um, science fiction and fantasy that centers the Pan African diaspora. I'm sorry, I'm tired, and that's what this one does. But essentially, this takes place in the future. It's a very futuristic story, right? Where humans are able to travel vast, vast, almost basically limitless distances in space. Almost limitless, basically. And we are at the point where we can colonize different planets. And we colonize different planets, and there's a whole new economy based off of you know um, discoveries in the intergalactic area. Mining new materials and new mining new metals and so forth, and new elements that we are just now learning, and new technologies and energy and so forth, where on Earth alone we were able to redevelop society into a very advanced, very sustainable society. Um, you know, Making steel and crude oil, you know, not only obsolete but seeming primitive, right? Where we have starships that are able to travel great distances. Well, this story it centers a planet. I won't give you the name of the planet. It's not even just a planet. It's actually a starship. It's a man-made planet created by a in a country, or by a company. Well, by a group of founders that are largely, most of them, majority of them are African. The others are like Latino and Asian, but largely African. And they started development on this this biomechanic vessel that's able to house literally millions, essentially a man-made planet. It started on it hundreds of years ago. Um, not just based on technological advancements, but also on a philosophical desire to create a utopia. And they get the help from an intergalactic alien who discovers what they were trying to do. Um, and they created during it, and it's discovered at a time where humanity has already been building, you know, colonies across space, not just within our system, but within the Kepler system and so forth. And, there's different, we still live under capitalism in this world. And there is a thirst to discover the secrets of this planet that is able to move um, to, to almost to vanish and go from one place to the other within almost an instant. Um, a planet that also operates as essentially the universe's most advanced starship. Um, that a starship of which has powers beyond those of the most advanced starships. So there's essentially um, there's a fight to get a hold of Jana, but at the same time, you know, Earth itself and humans are complicated, and there's a fights within fights. The planet is largely governed by a central government, and there's a libertarian push for independence among the colonies, and definitely there is some there's considerable, substantial, civil unrest within Earth because there is still a great inequality between classes. And although we have advanced largely beyond the systems of racism um, and sexism and religious dogma in the future, it still exists somewhat, right? Like, there's always that small group of people that are so impassioned that they make large explosions. So there's a little bit of everything, right? There's definitely politics involved in this, both on Earth and within the colonies. And the colonies itself, excuse me, threaten to war against Earth because they want their independence. So that's my other project that I will be unveiling to you all, and I have not decided yet if it's going to be released on Patreon or if it's going to be released on some other online published medium, or if it's going to be released via or if it's going to be another novel. Although I would love it to be another novel. Maybe we can do a little hybrid. We'll find out. So, but thank you all so much. Um, I have. I hope you all are continuing to invest every month, and definitely ask your friends that are interested in sci-fi, especially Pan African sci-fi, to invest as well. So I love you all. I'm definitely working hard to become better, and soon I will be creating a very intended, very planned campaign to raise my Patreon, the number of Patreons I have, so that I have. The last thing, I know it's 15 minutes long, which is I do have new rewards. If you didn't um, donate $50 to my Patreon, you do get the book rather early and signed by me, personally signed by me, and sent personally signed from me as well with the um, as well. So, but I love you all. rest well, be well, and as Aleister Crowley said, may love be thy will. Take care.